Welcome to Story Scaling by podcastvideos.com, where creators share the truth behind the content, the grind, and the growth. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, I am Bang with Story Scaling. Thank you so much for watching these episodes. We're noticing that, the viewership is going up and the subscribers are going up. So if you have not, please like and subscribe. And I am here with a good brother, a friend of mine,
Matt Woolley.
Matt, thank you for your time today, man.
Pleasure to be here, good sir.
How we feeling?
Living the dream, my friend. It's been one of those days. I'm running on about an hour of sleep.
Yeah.
Just because of the craziness of the schedule. But hey, I'm glad to be here, feeling positive. You always bring the positive vibes.
Appreciate that.
So I'm feeling good.
Well, check this out. We about to have a great conversation. I know it's going to be a great conversation because you're a good conversationalist. But before we get there, I'm going to read your bio.
Okay.
Now, this is me. This is what I think. This is what I said. I did some research.
All right.
And I constructed this. And so as I read this, I want you to process.
Okay.
Do I co-sign this or do you not co-sign this?
Okay.
Let me know what you think.
All right. Let's go for it.
It says, today's guest is Matt Woolley, a husband, father, musician, content creator, and founder of Designsteins, a creative agency based right here in Rogers, Arkansas. For more than a decade, Matt has led Designsteins in helping brands bring ideas from concept to cart. His team has created packaging, displays, video photography, and 3D visuals for major names, including Mr. Beast, Ozark Trail, Welly, Kimberly & Clark with Costco. Under his leadership, the company has grown, doubled its footprint, and launched an engineering division to accelerate prototyping and design execution. Beyond the agency, Matt hosts the Matt Woolley podcast, where he spotlights builders, leaders across industries, digging into lessons on leadership and growth. Outside of business, he's a lifelong guitarist with serious chops. A direct quote from a friend is, if this was the 80s, he would be famous. At his core, Matt Woolley is a storyteller who blends creativity, entrepreneurship, family, and music into everything that he does.
That's pretty good. I like that.
Yeah?
That was accurate.
Spot on?
Yeah, give me the pen. I'll sign on it.
Yeah, that's a lot there. When you hear that bio, what stands out to you about yourself? I know when I read this to a friend of mine, we just stopped afterwards because he was like, I never hear anybody speak like that about me. And I'm like, bruh, I just wrote it down. You're the one that's out here doing the thing. I just put it into. And so when you hear everything that you're involved in, whether that's Designsteins, which has been, doing really well for over a decade, music, family, so on and so forth, businessman, like what sticks out to you about the bio?
I'm blessed.
Yeah.
I tell people like that doesn't elaborate on it, but I've been in different industries and different things of that nature. Sure. And I've lived five different men's lives. Like I've had, it's Designsteins. We've been doing that for almost 16 years now.
Oh, wow.
But, I've done everything from wait tables to work on cars, to work on heating and air, build cabinets.
Wow.
Banking, had a career in banking.
Yeah.
I mean, I've been all over, done all kinds of stuff. And so, I really appreciate the journey.
Totally.
When somebody talks about all that, it just especially my brain, if a squirrel goes in front of me, I'm off. There I go bumping the TV. I told you I was going to.
But let's put a tracker down there. So
TV,
we bump the TV.
Yeah. But I feel blessed. Just have been able to participate in a lot.
Yeah.
Blessed, dude. Blessed.
You always got good perspective. You were saying about me off camera that I'm positive and I'm upbeat, and I feel the same about you.
Good vibes.
Yeah, dude, what the kids say, good vibes, bro. There's some good vibes, but I feel the same about you. When I watch your podcast, you bring in people, first of all, that are great pillars of the community in whatever respective field that they're in the same as you. And so when I see you today, I'm like, Matt Woolley, well dressed, good communicator, always got a smile on his face. But you talk about the backstory, the journey. Let's get into a little bit about the journey. Okay. As far as you want to go back, tell me about your upbringing and tell me about, what.
All right. So if I'll start But if I will keep me from writing a novel here.
That's
so
correct.
let's do top level.
This is the Matt Woolley show. Like the story's coming featuring Matt Woolley, so it's all about you. Write that novel,
All right.
and you take us as deep as you want to go.
Born and raised in southern Arkansas. Grew up about 20 minutes south of Pine Bluff,
Yep.
a place called Woodlawn, which is between basically Pine Bluff and Warren.
Yep.
The country, the country.
Yeah.
And grew up riding four-wheelers and motorcycles and driving, the back roads and basically that, country.
That real life country living.
Real life country living. Got into, I've done several different jobs as a youth, worked a little bit of retail, and then waited tables for 2.5 years. That's where I really honed. I've always been a people person. I could talk to a tree if I think it's listening.
Yeah.
And honed my skills doing that.
Mm-hmm.
And then I got into banking and started working for Simmons Bank, the national bank headquarters, which is located in the heart of Pine Bluff.
Yep.
And was there for a year and a half, and then just by the grace of the good Lord, had the opportunity to come up here to Northwest Arkansas.
Sure.
And I've been up here since 2002.
Yeah.
And the quick story is that I rose the ranks fairly quickly in banking as a young guy. I was very blessed. To spare some of the details because it take forever, but I tell everybody the dream became a nightmare. What I worked for was just, in the bank that I was at the time, I was burnt out.
Sure.
And always been a musician. And so I started doing I got out of banking and started doing music promotion as well as playing in an original band.
When you say always been a musician, give me the early years, playing in church, family played music, and so you picked it up, or where did that come from?
I do have a lot of musicians in my family.
Sure.
I started playing guitar at about the age of 10, didn't get serious about it till 11.
Yeah.
And I understand, this is, at the time, we're talking early to mid 90s for me, but I love bands like Kiss and Van Halen, and which is where
classic. Classic.
And guys that could really play. Yeah. Not that the 90s guys were great songwriters. Sure. I love 90s music, but as far as guitar players, there's no decade that had insanity.
There for 20 minutes and just let that thing scream.
Let it go. And so that was always my passion, was playing, and it was in bands. I told Mom that I was gonna, when I turn 18, I'm fixing to go to LA and become a rock star, that kind of thing. Yeah. And I'm glad that didn't work out. I'm happy with where I landed. But I've always been a musician.
Sure.
And so when I got out of banking, I decided that I was going to give it one last go. Released an album, got looked at by Atlantic Records.
Oh, wow.
They passed, but still just to say that they looked at us.
That's crazy. And
did a bunch of music promotion. Did all kinds of different jobs, just trying to figure out what I wanted to do.
Yeah.
Had an art background. Was heavily involved in art. Was accepted to art school, but I didn't go because it was a little bit different from my generation. I was right on the end of it, but
sure.
I mean, dude, back in my day, the thought of designing packaging and that kind of thing was, where I'm from, just felt a little far-fetched. If you're going to be in art, you're either going to be an art teacher, which is okay, nothing wrong with that, or you're going to be a starving artist.
Sure. Literally.
And it just, so I went where the money was at, and I got into banking. And that kind of gave me a good grasp on business fundamentals and understanding, the ins and outs of entrepreneurship. That's one blessing that I had when I was in banking was because at the time that I was really getting my hooks into it and having a great understanding and having good mentorship.
Sure.
It was during the recession. It was literally 05 was kind of starting into 08. And so I saw at that time what, not firsthand, but you'd see the aftermath of decisions. And so you'd see guys that made good decisions when things weren't going so good, and you'd see guys that make bad decisions that affected their entire life.
Correct.
And it was a humbling experience to see that, because, I mean, you know, you'd see the owners that are like, oh man, things are, you know, we're going to make this. We're going to make it through. We're going to make it through. And then you'd see guys that were not doing so great, you know, life-changing stuff.
Yeah.
But, you know, the thing that I've learned too in that life-changing stuff as well is that, you know, sometimes that's God's plan for you. Sometimes it's, you know, that whole unanswered prayer thing. You don't realize the trajectory that you're going towards, because me, for instance, and when I was in banking, I tell guys, young guys, believe it or not, I'm not that old, but I guess I'm old enough that some people want to talk to me about this stuff. But I tell them all the time, you think your life is over. Like, I dedicated, I don't have a college degree, didn't go to college. Everything I am is self-taught.
Wow.
Dude, you know, like, I thought my life was over when I got out of banking. I said, man, how am I going to rebound from this? But 16 years later, you know, well, more than that, 20 years since then, but, you know, 16 years in the Designsteins, you know, praise God.
Yeah.
I can live to tell the tale. We've had a lot of other adventures along the way. Boy, we just really...
That's good.
Got off in it.
That's what we did. Like that's I'm telling you, the way I frame this is like, man, this is what this is about. It's we want to get to know you and the story, because there are so many tangible, practical applications and things. Even as you say, you got to appreciate the journey. The journey got me where I am. You think life is over, but it's not. I can say that in retrospect, looking back. Like, this is the stuff that is valuable to me, but also valuable to our listeners, because, you know, when you talk about the recession, even, I think about it in terms of COVID, you know, business owners, some people 20, 30, 40 years in business shut down.
Oh, yeah.
You know, and the recession, I imagine, was similar when
100%.
that came through. You know, 100%. Some people who were probably in business for multiple generations couldn't rebound from that.
Well, I mean, they had placed in business and entrepreneur, when you're an entrepreneur, whether you want to label it this way or not, you're placing bets.
That's right.
You're betting on yourself.
That's right.
And unfortunately, sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. You know, I've had some failures along the lines with Designsteins. Sometimes they were business failures. Sometimes they were personal failures. Sometimes, you know, life is it's nothing but a learning experience.
Yeah.
My old man told me one time. He said, you know, life's really unfair. He said, because by the time you about got it figured out, it's almost over.
Yeah, it is. I love that. I love
and
that.
So it's a thing, but, you know, if you keep God around, work hard and use manners, you'll always have a job. That's just the truth. That's what I tell everybody. Just stay grounded.
Talk to me about, we could go one of two ways. I love how you say sometimes the Lord's rejection is his protection. And so, 100%. You know, if you go to LA and it doesn't work out, or it does work out and you get up somewhere where you don't want to be, then what happens to Matt Woolley? So I'm curious to hear a little bit about more of how that mindset or mentality even was formed. Did you always have, because when I speak to you now, there's a level of wisdom, but wisdom is only acquired through experience. So you might not have known when you quit the bank that you were going to be okay. You know, it might have been the end of the world for you, but now you look back and it's like.
Well, I tell everybody, it's the stuff that you choke on that you never forget.
Yeah.
You know, and at the time, it doesn't matter. It happened to me tomorrow. Dude, it could happen to me tomorrow.
Right.
It still, I mean, it doesn't suck.
Right.
That's the thing, is like when people, that's the thing that I hate about some of these influencers. They go, oh man, you just got to keep grinding. You keep grinding. Look, dude, I'm a human being.
Absolutely.
I have emotions.
Yeah, man.
I have invested into this. And now all of a sudden, the rug's being pulled out underneath me. Don't tell me I need to grind. I'm about to cry right now. You know what I'm saying? But you do need to get back up on the horse. You do still need to ride. But what I found, if you want to call that wisdom, I just been through it one too many times. It still doesn't mean I appreciate it when it happens.
Totally.
But, you know, okay, I didn't go to L.A. But if I had to gone to L.A., I wouldn't have the life that I have now, which I love. I wouldn't be as close to God as I am. I wouldn't have my beautiful wife. Wouldn't have my children.
That's right.
All these things the woulda, coulda, shouldas of life. You got to watch laying in that, because that's not reality. That's not healthy. It's like, this is going to sound stupid, but they're like dropping keys in a volcano. Let it go, man. They're gone. Just let it go.
That's right.
But what I'm getting at is that life always gives you perspective, and you don't always see it when it's going on.
Right.
But you get 10 steps down the road and you look back, you're like, oh, wait a minute, I'm so glad that didn't happen.
Yeah.
Same thing with, banking. I have many banking friends, and a lot of just wonderful people. They have dedicated their life to banking. That's great.
Sure.
I honestly don't think I would have made it, even if I had gone a few more years. But at the time, though, dude, I was just miserable. I just didn't realize how miserable I was.
Right.
But it gave me perspective. It gave me knowledge. I learned a lot while it was going on.
Yep.
So much so that when I became an entrepreneur, I saw things from the other side. There's a lot of people saying, I'm going to start a business. And that's great. Start a business, but you need to be prepared to run one.
Yeah, absolutely.
And
how do you stay in business?
Right. How do you stay in business? That's the first one. And the other one is, you're going to need capital. If you were born into the lower class or the middle class, somehow or another, you're going to need some financing.
Absolutely.
You're going to need financing. And so having a relationship with a bank and knowing how that works, that was definitely 120% a leg up, because when I went to say, hey, this is what I'm going to do, I really need some support here, I knew what they needed to hear.
Sure.
So that they were like, okay, sweet. And I was talking their language.
You spoke their language.
And so that was definitely a leg up. And also all the journey, along the way, understanding while I'm in business, looking back and thinking about all those other business owners, like I talked about, that go in the recession, there's value add there too. Everything is a learning experience. Soak it up. Just because it went sour doesn't mean you didn't learn anything.
That's right.
So
I heard somebody say, I never lose. Either I win or I learn.
That's great.
And we're gonna put the Matt Woolley gym tracker at the bottom of the screen too, along with TV, because you said, what did you say? You said something that really resonated with me. Oh gosh,
no telling.
You said a lot. Seriously, it's no telling. It's no telling. You said a lot. When I think about this idea of resilience, that's what it was. You were saying when it's tough and you're going through it, you don't need to be told to just grind, because we're human beings.
It sucks.
And it sucks. And I was on a rant today, and I was talking about, on my social, I was saying the one thing that they don't tell you is it's going to be difficult. And that's part of the journey. And me and my mom talk about this all the time with the Christian journey. It's going to be difficult. The one thing that the good Lord guarantees is trials.
100%.
He doesn't guarantee that it's going to be roses and heaven until you get to that point.
Correct.
But on earth it's going to be difficult. But that's something that I don't think we steward well. And we don't tell people, we don't equip them for how difficult it's going to be.
To quote one of the greatest pastors, and it happens to be my current pastor, shout out to Mike Newberry. And he does have a few books on Amazon, so check him out.
Shout out to Pastor Newberry.
But and this is on my podcast. He made this statement. This is the one that I had to sit back in my seat for a second. But he said, I've always said that the greatest battle that you'll fight in the Christian journey is with yourself.
That's right.
100. And I was like, yeah, 100%. 100%. You don't always, the thing is we're not fortune tellers. We don't see the future.
That's right.
All we can do is really reflect on the past. But when we reflect on the past, we need to reflect on the things that matter and let go of the things that don't. And I think that's another problem too, is, there's some people that they just don't take failure well. Don't get me wrong, I don't like to fail. I mean, I like to win. You'll never find a more capitalist, competitive guy than me.
Yeah.
But, sometimes I have learned in my little vapor of an existence that whenever something doesn't go the way you want it to, well, again, we learned something. Let's try something new.
That's right.
Don't stay in it. Don't bathe in that failure. You just got to let it go.
That's right.
So,
yeah. When you think about that transition from the bank to starting Designsteins, let's talk about that period a little bit. Do you come from a family of business owners? Were you in the weeds by yourself, not knowing what to do, how to navigate, figuring it out in real time? Like, let's talk about that period from
120%. I saw from an outside perspective, I saw my my pawpaw was, and he is, if I had to look up to a man that had an influence on me, both personally and how others perceived him, because he was one and the same. He was very great man of integrity. He was a business owner, and he started with nothing and had got himself into a good position as an entrepreneur. He owned a logging company in southern Arkansas. But I saw what he did with his blessings. He used his he used his blessings to bless others. And so he lived a good life. I mean, he wasn't a multi-millionaire.
Sure.
But he did very well for himself. He took care of my grandmother, set her up for success even after he was gone. While he was alive, I mean, he was a guy that was just constantly, if he saw it, just like we're told to do in our Christian walk, if he saw a need, he'd do what he could to take care of it. And that made a big impact on me. Now, learning the business, no, I was just a young guy. I mean, I was 18, 19 when he passed, but I didn't have any business involvement. Everything I've learned is through one of two things: just outside looking in my banking profession, and the school of hard knocks.
Totally.
Just from the beginning. Like, I mean, I look back on some of the stuff 16 years ago, I'm like, you idiot.
How do we make it?
Right, yeah. Well, I can tell you how he made it. Is God, and I have to give honor and glory to God. I've got so many God stories that's not even funny. And I tell people all the time, I don't know how people do business without God, because it can certainly be done, but I, for one, don't want any part of that. Been good.
When you get the idea for Designsteins, like you said, where we're from, Central Arkansas, South Arkansas, some of these things are not even concepts. Like, you could tell somebody you want to be an artist, and they're going to look at you like, you mean after you get off of work? Or you know what I mean? Like, how are you going to eat?
Well, so sometimes there's an evolution to things. Like how it happened with me was, so I got out of banking and I decided I was going to do like all these other different jobs. I did all kinds of different jobs just to make money. Yep. I could have made more money sitting on my hands drawing unemployment, but I worked in a maintenance department for a short time in Prairie Grove Schools. My father-in-law worked there, so I just wanted something to do. That taught me some skill sets. It also taught me a lot about how our education system works too, believe it or not. While that was going on, I was also doing some side hustles, and I was doing music promotion. So here's what happens with the music promotion. I started doing stuff with Brian Crown.
Yep.
And
shout out to Brian Crown.
Shout out to Brian Crown, the godfather of the music scene. I started doing work with him, was working with my own band, but also I was like trying to make a situation of rising tide lifts all boats. So
that's right.
I did stuff at the time, like they were called Rock Mayhem, and some different things where we'd pull like 3 bands in the front, 3 bands in the back. Total chaos for the audio engineer. But we'd bring just a massive amount of people. I made friends with, God rest his soul, Steve Butler from Butler Broadcasting. Yep. Uncle Steve, they done 104.9 The X.
Yep.
And I knew all those guys, but was doing all this promotional stuff because I just love music, and I was trying to make it. Still, it's my last hurrah.
Yeah.
And doing these different things. But while that was going on, I was like, man, I really dig this whole marketing thing. I was like, I need to get into the art world because I'm an artist. I was, again, it's not just a musician, like, I've painted, sculpted, that sort of thing. I was accepted to art school, didn't go, that kind of stuff.
Yep.
And I was like, how do I get into art and make some money from this?
Yeah.
And so then I went to work for a very short period of time at a company that's still around, owned by Dave Rutan. Dave, if you're watching this, hey.
Shout out to Dave.
I hope you're doing well.
Yeah, man.
You and Paula. But I worked for a company called Parachuting Penguins, which is up the road, right on the edge of, old Walmart campus. And I met who would become my business partner at the time, Jesse Jacobs, and and he helped me with the music promotion. Now, he was a much better artist than I was, but I was a much better salesperson than he was. And so I made the joke. I noticed that combining his design with my vision and sales capabilities, there's something there. And essentially that is the seed that started Designsteins.
Oh.
So I didn't have any plans for that.
Yeah.
That was just something that got put in my path. And I made the joke to him one day, and I said, we do well at this. We just ought to go into business together. And I was kidding. And fast forward, a couple of months later, he calls me out of the blue and he says, let's do it. And I was like, do what? And he goes, let's go into business. And I was like, and I thought about it. I was like, what do I have to lose? It's just one more log on the fire. We'll give it a go.
Wow.
And so got into it and been doing it 16 years.
You said a lot there that is weighty, and I had a mentor tell me you have to leave room for the divine. Because to your point, you had no idea that you were going to go into business with this gentleman, and then you look up and 16 years later. So talk about that. Talk about the line between walking by faith and saying, like, I don't know how this is going to work, but I'm going to be a man of integrity like I saw my grandfather be. I'm going to move forward, put myself out there, make connections, whether that be Brian Crown or showing up at these. Like, talk about that process, because sometimes if you don't have a clear vision, it's easy to think like, man, maybe I'm not doing what I'm supposed to be doing. So
yeah, I mean, you can get lost in it. You just gotta, again, you always gotta jump on that horse and ride. But the vision from day one is the vision that it is now. I now would have no clue that all of the things that have taken place would have taken place.
Sure.
The business should have died at least 3 times.
Sure.
And it's because we were figuring things out. When we first started, we weren't dealing with, the Kimberly Clarks of the world, or the Duracells, or the Unilevers, or just name drop whoever you want to name drop. You know what I mean? We started out with small businesses, and we started out with. And again, this is part of the journey. You don't see these building blocks taking form.
Right.
But what happened was we were dealing with mom and pop businesses that they don't have a big marketing spend. If mom and pop businesses spend money, they are taking a chance. Now, marketing is marketing. It's good. There's always a return on marketing. You don't see everything. Getting your name out there helps.
That's right.
But you don't always see an immediate ROI. And when groceries are on the line, for a small business, it's hard for people to want to put it on the line, because it's like, well, I could for sure have groceries next week, or I could spend this $1,200.
That's right.
And then I might let, rent may go south. You know what I mean? There's all kinds. I've seen these exact.
These are real concerns that every day.
These are real things.
Yep.
And so all I had to say, part of it, and at that point, was having a conscience for understanding that, because again, so talk about this up. This is what I saw in banking. I know, and my own personal life, I know that if there's a mess up, if this doesn't achieve results, it's going to be costly to them. So there was always that mentality of wanting to take care of somebody, wanting to do right.
Sure.
And then on top of that, making every cent count in that moment. So you really had to be able to think through. You had to really take ownership of every business that you helped, because you had to truly be in the weeds with them. You have to treat it as your own. You have to be like, okay, if we're going to do this, like here, and but that was also a great sales thing for me, because it's like they saw that we cared. You know what I mean? It wasn't just like, oh, please just give us this money so we can get the.
For sure. Which again, that happens.
There's buy-in. There's that buy-in. But over time, you start to put all the pieces of the puzzle together, and you see things that effectively work and work with them, but you're doing it on a shoestring budget. So what that does is you're doing 2 things at once. One is you're building your reputation. Well, actually doing 3 things. I think about it. One, you're building a reputation for yourself as somebody that can make it happen, with little,
That's right.
little to nothing guerrilla marketing.
Yep.
2, you're also learning with other people's money. So you're learning how to build your own business while you're helping them with theirs, because you're doing these deep dives. As the ownership, you see similarities that are going on. And then 3, you're also training yourself for much further down the line and getting more bang for your buck. So again, we do a lot of work with suppliers that they are vendors to Walmart. Walmart, every cent counts. Every cent counts. So if we're doing, whether it's a packaging design or we're doing a display that's going to go nationwide in all their Walmarts or even other retailers, it's that whole mentality of how can we get the most bang out of this for the least cost. And so when we do that, we're more profitable, our clients are more profitable, and Walmarts are more profitable. Everybody wins. It's truly a rising tide lifts all boats thing. But that training, that mentality, that didn't come right away. That came back when I was peddling flyers for Rock Mayhem. That came whenever we were helping that little pet salon try to get 5 more clients a week. That's where it comes from. But you have to, and you're talking about being grateful for the process and understanding, your roots. You forget as a human being, because you are, especially if you're somebody that's very competitive and wants to go big, wants to do all these things, you sometimes forget all these little steps along the way that allowed you to get to this point. Right now, if I'm at point E, I'm focused on E, but I forget about A, B, C, D, that got me there. And it's a million different things like that, all compiled in one spot, this little pea brain of mine that comes from. But, here's the beauty of that too. You have the ability to share knowledge too.
That's right.
Like I can tell friends that have small business, and I have a lot of them, guys that are just starting out or guys that are there that aren't as progressed as we are. Hey, just hang tight. Look out for this. Be careful of this. Make sure you're doing this with your taxes. Have you thought about doing this? Do you have a strategy for that? All of these are the freaking school of hard knocks. And here's another problem. I'm just going to ramble, so let's roll.
We're rolling.
So one thing that I give advice to, especially young guys, is stop trying to do it yourself, in the sense of it's one thing if you have limited resources as far as, the finances to have really, really brilliant people working with you, okay? There is that limitation. There's real world stuff. But what doesn't cost you anything is reaching out to good, credible people that can mentor you. And then if you have that blessing, realize what you have, be grateful for it, and then pass it along. One of my biggest mistakes in life when I was young was I thought I had too much pride, and pride cometh before a fall, but I had too much pride to ask somebody, hey man, can I just borrow you for like an hour? Look, I know that you don't know me from Adam. I know that, your time is valuable, but I could just really use your ear and your wisdom. Do that as much as you freaking can. I'm still doing it today. I don't do it enough, but 2 things when I was young is I didn't do that enough, and I was also too freaking stupid to realize when somebody was trying to do it for me.
That's right.
And so that's how we grow. We all grow together. You're not going to grow if you're trying to set up an island. So anyways, in business, keep God around, seek mentorship.
That's good. That's good. There again, back to the Matt gems, man. What I'm hearing you say is the valley can teach you things that the mountain can never teach you.
It's just everything the Bible says is just true. It's like,
crazy how that works.
It is.
I go back. I was talking to my wife about that. I go back all the time, and I'm like, dang, God was right. You know what I mean? Because it's one thing to read it, then you got to live it and experience it. And sometimes you got to wrestle with it.
Well, we're quick to call the Israelites idiots, but we act like an Israelite every day.
That's right.
And as far as your faith, I don't think we answered the question, but you kind of hinted at something a second ago. It just popped in my head. I definitely need to respond to that. these obstacles, your faith will grow as long as if you stay true to God. And even when you're not as close as you need to be, he still finds a way to shine himself into the situation. But I have story after story, that we ain't got the time to get off into them. But, I had a circumstance where we were just a retainer-based company. We were guys that were working behind the scenes, that people were basically, we weren't as out front as we are now.
Sure.
And we were a company that worked off retainers. We had 3 large companies that we were their in-house team, that they white labeled. And because of nothing that we did, nothing of our own doing, within a month of each other, we lost 2 of them. Now, that's detrimental to a company. And don't think I was like,
right,
not good. But praise God, there's a little bit of panic there.
For sure.
And that's human.
You got family, you got bills, you got employees.
It was a thing. But I'll never forget. It was close to Christmas time on top of it. So talking about doubling down, and this is going to segue into something else. And the Lord I just got this put on my heart. I'll tell the story. So I was feeling down, wasn't sure what we were going to do. We were out there trying. And I was going to go visit this guy. I had a loose late morning. I was going to go visit this guy and talk some business. And he had given me the freedom to just come on by anywhere. I said, okay, I'll be between here and here at this time. And so I had some flex in the schedule.
Yeah.
And so anyways, I was going to work out. And so I was headed over to Bentonville, and I was headed to, I was a member of Planet Fitness at the time, the no lunk place.
Yeah.
And I was going to work out after I visited him. But for whatever reason, my gut started burning, like, you just need to work out right now. Don't ask me why. And so I'm literally about to pass Planet Fitness, but it was just my gut was screaming. I say it was my gut. It's the Holy Spirit.
Absolutely.
And so I literally jerked in the park, and I was like, all right, well, I guess, Lord, I'm going to work out. So I start going into the locker room, and there, sitting straight in front of me, is a guy that I've been trying to get business from for over 2 years.
No way.
And I have story after story like this, but he's right in front of me. And I was like, hey, man, what's going on? He said, hey, what are you doing here?
Hey, did you see that email from 2 years ago?
Here's the funny thing. I used to be, our old Designsteins location was right beside this dude. Even when we were neighbors, he wouldn't cut us a break. Okay? Wow. But, so I go in there, and I said, hey, I'm not going to name names on here, but hey, what's going on, man? And I was like, oh, not much. I kid you not. He goes, I was going to work out later this afternoon, but I just had this feeling like I needed to get it done. And right then, the light went on. And I was like, I'm not going to say, well, me too, because that was, a little fishy.
Yeah,
but I was thinking, well, that's weird. Yeah. Anyway, so I sit down, and I just say, what's been going on? And he starts talking and blah, 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 and he asked how we were doing. We were just having 2 bros in a locker room conversation.
Absolutely.
And then he says to me, he said at the end, I said, well, I'm going to leave it alone. I know you're trying to work out, and I need to work out too. He goes, actually, Matt, and he grabs my hand, and he goes, hey, I tell you what, I got something for you. Tomorrow, why don't you come by and see me? And I'm going to try not to tear up.
Yeah.
Because I've had things like this happen before.
True.
But he said, I got something, right as it is, I got something that's perfect for you guys, and I know you've been asking for business. And the quick story is, beyond that point, it was great for business. It did. It gave us a new trajectory and pushed us into another area of business that we've been trying to get in. And through the use of him, it opened up a bunch of other doors. But here's the other thing that happened, and praise be to God for this. I left that day with hope. You understand?
Absolutely.
And so here's the takeaway from that. It's not just God gave us all this business. Yes, God gave us all this business. God completely opened that door, and praise to him for that. But here's the lesson from that. Sometimes in life, we can just have a real rough day. Sometimes we're down and it feels like the world is just pummeling us no matter how we try, no matter how good we do, and you get to a point where you're like, screw this. I am sick of this.
That's right.
I'm fixing to burn this place to the ground.
That's right.
And move on.
That's right.
And then all of a sudden, it can happen anywhere, bang. I mean, you're walking through Walmart just going to get you some Doritos. And it can be just as simple as somebody smile and say, how are you today?
Absolutely.
And you want to say, well, I'm ready to cry right now.
Absolutely.
But they say hi. They show you some love. And next thing you know, you feel the uplift.
That's right.
And I think that God puts people like that in our paths, but that's also the responsibility that we're to have. You know how much a hug costs? $0.
Yeah.
You know how much, hey, I appreciate your cost, or you do a great job, or I just tell you, man, that's a good looking shirt. That cost you $0. Sometimes you just need a little bit of hope, and that hope doesn't always have to equate to there's business waiting for you tomorrow. It's more so humanity's still looking out for you.
That's right.
So I have tried over the years, and not been successful with it always, but I've tried over the years to try to be a positive force. Now let me also say this too, as the Israelite that I am.
Right.
I can be a hypocrite. I'm a born pessimist because I always look for how are we going to get burned on it.
Mm-hmm.
And that's good to a degree too.
Yeah.
But we're called to lift each other up.
That's right.
And you just never know who's been put in your path that day that could use a little bit of that positive vibe that comes so naturally easy to guys like me and you.
That's right.
We can use it for good or we can bottle it up. But what's the Lord say we're supposed to do?
We'll give it.
Give it.
Yeah.
So
It's good.
there's a little ding.
Man, exactly. Count that up. I love it. I love it. You talk about the God stories, man, and I'm over here like, getting emotional and getting chills because it's like in those moments you need it the most.
100%.
Where things can literally go left or right. You could crash out, say, forget it all. It's in that moment.
If we all had it figured out,
Yeah.
if we all were just these little made-to-be islands that could do it ourselves, we wouldn't need Jesus. And, there's no such thing. No such thing. It is a lie. There's no such thing as a self-made man.
Yeah.
No, doesn't happen. Doesn't happen. Anyways, what else you want to know, Bang?
Man, we going deep. We going deep. Let's talk a little bit about the podcast.
Okay, the Matt Woolley podcast or your podcast?
No, the Matt Woolley podcast.
Okay.
I want to know. I want to know where the idea came from. I want to know what made you jump into it. How is it going now?
It's good, man. So a few things. We're about to release our 50th episode. Now it's 50, 50 episodes. It should be more, but honestly, my schedule is so cray-cray. That's terms for crazy.
Yeah, no, you. Well, I'm over here thinking. I remember when you guys started.
Yeah,
and 80% of podcasts don't see episode 3.
Really?
80%.
Wow.
And then an overwhelming 90% don't make it past episode 10. 90% of podcasts.
Really? I didn't know that. Those are some hard stats.
And it's real. This is real life.
This is real.
And so the fact that you're halfway to 100 is mind blowing.
So it should be more. I should be around like the 70 mark, but my schedule, honestly, I haven't pushed it, and I haven't pushed it like I should have.
Yeah.
And I haven't. My time is so sporadic. And also the thing too is a lot of the people that I have on the podcast, there are people that I have to really work with to try to get them on.
Totally.
They're not guys. They're just like, hey, you know, can you be there tomorrow?
Yeah.
You know, like they look at me. What are you, crazy?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But the reason why I started it was simply this, and believe it or not, I wanted to do it at a time when podcasting wasn't what it is now.
Right.
Like, I had the idea for this like 7 years ago when it was starting to take. And because I've always been blessed to know so many great people that just good, hardworking dudes.
Sure.
That bring a lot of value in different areas. Now, I've had a lot of retail folks on because, of course, that's my main industry.
Yep.
But I've brought on some other people too. But anyways, all to say, the reason why I wanted to do it was back when I had the first idea, I was like, man, I just know so many cool people.
Yep.
It'd be great to grab their stories because I have these conversations with people. A lot of the conversations I've had on this podcast I've had in real life.
Right.
You know, little snippets. I'm like, that's a good story, you know.
Yep.
And also, I love stories. I've always remembered stories. Like, I mean, I can never, there's two things when it comes to people. One, I never forget a face, but I can forget your name easy. It takes me a minute to grab your name.
Yeah.
But I'll remember your face, and I'll remember the story that you told me 3 years ago about how your, you know, brother-in-law had a freaky lawnmower accident and got his big toe chopped off. And so I'll come up to you like, hey, dude, what's going on? Hey, how's the brother's toe?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But I love stories, and I love people telling me their stories, and I've been blessed to have that. So I thought, okay, back then I was like, man, that's what I want to capture, is people's stories. But when I decided that I was really going to go for it, number one, shout out to Podcast Videos and Eric Howerton.
Shout out to Eric.
And but you know, doing podcast videos made it easier for everybody that wanted to do one to do it because you guys just make it so easy. I'm like, oh, this is great. All I have to worry about is a schedule now. But I felt a burning desire to do it because honestly, right now, this day and time. And this isn't, I'm not going to name names, and it's certainly not in the local market. We have a lot of great podcasts in this area, Northwest Arkansas area, but in general, there's a lot of influencers out there that don't need to be influencing. There's people that can, just like us, can talk to a tree if they think it's listening. They have this whole idea of how this works. Some of them may have had a little bit of fortune in how they do things, but they don't have the same type of working knowledge as guys that are, you know, I'm 42.
Sure.
But guys that, you know, a decade or two older than me, it just doesn't happen.
Sure.
You know, the reason why they had wise men and still do in some parts of other countries is because they're just old, it's because they've seen so much.
Yeah.
Excuse me. And so, anyways, I just felt like there was a lot of people out there that weren't doing good influencing, that weren't giving showing real love. They were just people selling books or selling likes and follows and stuff like that. And so I thought, you know, this would be kill two birds with one stone. I can have people on that I know, love, and appreciate.
Yeah.
Or at least have a good acquaintance with.
Yeah.
I can learn their stories, and as they're telling me things, I learn more than anybody else.
Yeah.
So selfishly, I learn a lot.
Yeah.
And then on top of it, we're putting some goodness out in the world. We're saying, hey, you know, maybe it's not a good idea that you throw this temper tantrum because you didn't get 3 weeks of vacation at your first job.
Right. Yeah. Right. Exactly.
And so that's why I did it. I love people, and it's been a great. And that's the other beauty of it too, man. I've got just like with you, you know, I've caught a few wisdom nuggets. You know, got them cataloged. They're on there. They're in the interwebs, my friend.
Yeah, man.
And so like, that's another beauty of what we do. Like, what did he say? Oh, what was that one thing? We got it cataloged on YouTube, Spotify, and Apple, baby. So it's there, and it's a resource.
Yep.
So it's a win-win. That's why I did it.
Yeah.
And it's fun. It's also fun. It's also fun to be able to just sit down and talk to people.
Totally.
And it's also kind of out of my element as well because unfortunately, that is one of the things, and it's part of our culture code. In our culture at Designsteins, number 7 quirkism is you are to be interested, not interesting, which basically means you need to listen more and quit running your mouth.
That's
and
right.
the Bible also tells you to do that too.
Yep.
And my podcast is the one place that I do that.
That's right.
Because I need to do more listening than talking. And I love it. It's great. I think the tools that we have as a society, as a culture, having things like this to draw upon is such a blessing if you use it for the right reasons.
Yeah.
Anyhow,
You jumped in head first, and I can honestly say you came with the dope logo and the branding, and
that's what we do.
that's what you do. So
Yeah.
when we're sitting here for that first meeting, you and Manning were breaking everything. Is he still around?
Manning, actually, he decided to be an entrepreneur himself. Okay. Now we still work with him on certain projects. Okay. He's a good dude, and shout out to Manning Moore.
Shout out to Manning.
He great talented young man, and he decided that he wanted to do his own thing, and he's doing some big things for a lot of people.
Love it.
It's good.
You guys came in, and I mean everything from looking at how can I make this logo fit, and then the microphones, where do you need to sit, and so it was cool to see. It wasn't just oh man, let me come in tomorrow and mess around. Like, you guys had the vision, and now you're 50 episodes in. So talk just a little bit about what you've learned through the process from just starting episode 1 to now about to launch episode 50.
What's funny is it trains you to be comfortable in your own skin. Not that I wasn't, but when you add another layer onto it, it's not just a podcast, that's audio. It's a podcast
that's right.
Visual, and so you get both. And so at first I was like, a little tense about it, just like anybody else, because it's something new. But we'll say here again, we'll plug podcast for the beauty that you guys bring to this industry is that you make it easy. Everybody's comfortable. You're accommodating. You guys worry about the tech. Mm-hmm. You've got a setup that normally would take a 4 or 5 man crew to run. Y'all have a nice, easy setup. So literally, guys like me that can just do what they want to do can just come, sit down, and do it. So that lack of pressure there is great, because that's one less thing you have to worry about, and you can focus on what it is that you want to do. So from that point, really all it is being able to come, sit down, and just enjoy yourself.
That's right.
You have to allow yourself to enjoy yourself. Like this right now, I feel like after doing the podcast too is great training for me. Not that I had problems talking to anybody, but I've done it on stage. Now I can do it in an intimate setting.
That's right.
It's training yourself. It's enjoying. It's a blessing to be able to do. Like this right here. This is a blessing to sit down and be able to talk to you.
That's right.
And y'all make it easy.
That's right.
And then when all it's said and done with, all I got to do is say, this looks good.
Yeah.
Let this work.
Yeah.
So, and I've learned a lot of little micro lessons from my guests along the way, like we talked about. But I'd say on top of the little micro lessons that you get, the little wisdom nuggets, it's just opening yourself up to another experience that you grow from.
That's right. So, man, this was rich.
It's hour already. Man, it always goes.
This was rich. I feel like I love having conversations where you leave feeling energized and not drained. Because something that people don't realize about me is I'm actually introverted. And so,
really?
Yep. Charismatic, big personality, performer, but I recharge by being alone or by being in small settings like this. Mm-hmm. And so I can have a riveting, compelling, amazing conversation that I leave and I'm like, man, I'm tired.
I'm depleted.
I left it all on the field, and then you have conversations like this where you leave and it's like, oh man, I'm revitalized. I'm rejuvenated. And I feel like this was a very energizing conversation. So I appreciate you for sitting there.
Praise God for that. Hey, well, I appreciate the opportunity. It's been great. Time flew, but time flies when you're having fun.
That's right. Plug anything you need to plug. Matt Woolley Podcast. Where can we find you and keep up with you?
All right, so two things. My handle is, as it sounds, the Matt Woolley Podcast, and that's MattWoolley Podcast, and I have to spell it because my name is weird. And you can find me on YouTube, Spotify, and Apple.
Okay.
Also, shout out to Designsteins, the retail marketing agency, and we do design and product development, product packaging, displays, and .com content. And been around for 16 years. So show us some love. Visit our website. One-stop shop, baby.
Yeah.
That's the way we like it.
Love it, man.
Make it easy.
Thank you for your time, brother.
Appreciate you, man.
See ya.